When I cracked my eyes open this morning, I watched a Rebel Media video that advocates for mandatory military service. I thought, this should be interesting, and when I was finished watching, I decided to make this video. Now, this video is specifically making the case for Canada adopting mandatory military service, but no matter what country you come from, it's still an interesting topic in my opinion. So let's get into this, shall we?
Canada must build up our military. By doing so, we would strengthen our position in the world stage, both as a sovereign G7 nation and as a founding member of NATO.
Okay, so I can understand Canada or any other nation wanting to create a strong military. Canada certainly could use some work in that department, but why does this have to include mandatory service? Why not just boost funding, take in more recruits, and make joining the military voluntarily more attractive?
As well, such a commitment would only bring positive news for our economy. Canada should pursue a higher level of autonomy in key defense production industries, including shipbuilding and aviation, right here at home.
When I looked it up, I was surprised to find out Canada is already one of the top 15 arms exporters in the world.
This will create jobs, allow us to park our dollars in our own garages, and lead to Canadian innovation.
I don't think jobs are a good enough reason to force people to potentially fight for causes they may not believe in, especially if those causes do not directly threaten Canadian sovereignty. As I've already pointed out, Canada's arms industry is already booming.
Moreover, at the risk of sounding totally out of touch,
Too late. Just saying.
I'm actually not opposed to the notion of mandatory military service. Nothing outlandish, 8 or 9 months of service for all Canadian citizens between the ages of 19 and 40, with exceptions, of course, made on physical or psychological grounds.
So nothing outlandish besides robbing people of personal choice for nearly a year. Nothing too big, though.
There is an enormous amount of academic debate as to whether or not conscription is a good or bad idea, but let me tell you what I do know.
Yes, please. I'm sure you're about to make a fact-based argument as to why we should force people to serve in the military.
Of the countries that I've traveled to in my life that do practice such a system, I've never actually met a person who wishes to see it otherwise.
Wait, what? So we should take your word for it based on your personal anecdotal experience. And aren't you a media outlet? If you are, then you would think you could take a few minutes to look up some facts and figures to prove your point, instead of telling us what you think based on a few conversations you had with people abroad.
Military service fosters a greater love of country, a stronger sense of self. It helps straighten out those who are, shall we say, a little rough around the edges.
Citation needed. However, according to what I could find, this may not be true. Although to be fair, the research is contradictory in many places. But I'll offer you this. Our baseline results are striking. Military service significantly increased both the likelihood of crime and the number of crimes between the ages of 23 and 30. These effects are seen across all crime categories, are quite large in magnitude, and are driven by those with a criminal history prior to service or who come from low socioeconomic status households. And our analysis indicates that mandatory military conscription significantly impacts the life course of young men. The heterogeneous nature of the effects reinforces already existing inequalities and the likelihood of future success. Our results contradict the idea that military service may be a way to straighten out troubled youths and build skills that are marketable in the post-service labor market. Or you could take this. Mandatory participation in military service may influence a draftee's labor market prospects, aversion to violence, or criminal behavior. Researchers evaluated the effect of Argentina's lottery-based conscription on draftees' criminal activity. They found that conscription increased crime rates among draft-eligible Argentinians, especially those serving longer or during times of war. So as you can see, mandatory service may not be a way to curb crime rates. As for nationalism, I have no problem with being proud of my country without being forced to serve in its military.
Plus, with the West's total war on masculinity and the boom of triggered pink-haired girls, well, some push-ups and scheduled discipline would do both boys and girls some good.
Well, at least she includes girls. But I don't think these are good reasons to enforce military service. You offered no data to back up your points. You only offered weak anecdotal evidence and emotional appeals based on nationalism and jobs. You can achieve the same outcomes using other means rather than forced service. If my country were being threatened, I would enlist. However, I don't want to fight wars based on the say-so of politicians, especially based on weak arguments like the ones used in this video. I support the military with my tax dollars, and I support the men and women who serve in our military. If people wish to join the military, then by all means they should. This is their right, and I respect their decision. However, I don't want that decision made for me. Anyhow, I hope I've offered some food for thought, and maybe I'm completely wrong. If you feel that way, please let me know in the comment section below. After all, this isn't just about me, but the two-way conversation that can happen through these videos. That about wraps it up. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe if you want to support my work. Take care, and cheers.